Hi there, my name is Christian Whittemore. I am an editor, I'm an assistant editor, do a lot of post-production stuff in general, and I just wanted to make kind of a casual little edit breakdown about this film that's coming out called Dreaming of a Better Place. I was the editor on it, we put a lot of work into it, and so I thought I'd, show the timeline, show how stuff started, show how stuff ended up, and hopefully this can serve as some sort of maybe educational resource for anyone interested in editing, specifically for you Gov School kiddos, if you're watching, shout out to you. Or maybe it can serve as some sort of, documentation of what I did on it if anyone's interested in working with me one day. So just a quick intro about the project. This is a short documentary. It's 8 minutes long. It's about ski culture. It's about this lodge that's run by a family up in British Columbia in the Monashee Mountains. Overall goals with the film were to, one, tell a personal story about our subject here, Jeff, and also to make a film that kind of just shows what people love about skiing, what people love about ski culture, and show off some really beautiful nature, show off the world, show off British Columbia. Something that's absolutely all owed to our amazing DP, Chris. He just killed it with everything. Let me jump to some footage that actually shows you what the man has done. I don't know anyone in the right mind who could get a shot like this. Like, that's ridiculous. He was skiing while filming, which I don't know how you don't break your neck doing that, but he didn't. He's fine and he's still killing it. This film Cameron and I always thought about it in 3 sections, right? It was like, 1, let's get an introduction to the world. 2, let's make a ski film. Let's make something that's really fun. Let's make something that's just really visually engaging to watch, and hopefully something that is a little different than the other films that have been captured out there, which we really were trying to, make as much use of any random pieces of footage that we captured, like this, for example. This right here is just some random shot, probably not intended to be used, but kind of works to stitch shots together. We wanted to do a lot of stuff like that. Cameron and I think that way a lot. How can we always refer to them as little texture shots, things like that can kind of glue 2 things together. This right here, this is our equivalent of the car film. This is the skiing equivalent of this. And you can see a lot of those texture shots, little things we used to glue things. Those are all very relevant here when you watch the ski portion. I'll make a cut there. So Act 1, Act 2, and then Act 3 is, let's kind of tie these 2 pieces, Act 1 and Act 2, this love of skiing, love of environment, and this history that we started off with here. This is all these things that you aren't maybe so familiar with as a viewer. Let's show why this is still human and relevant to you, which in the case here, it's about family, and it's about losing family, losing someone you love.
I am so very proud of the man, father, husband you become. Your father loves and respects you. No, I wish I could be here watching you. Watching your continued development and success. I love you, Dad.
I love that cut. The one to the snow here. But what I want to do now is kind of jump way far back in time and just show kind of the premiere project before it looked like any of that, because it's kind of insane. Something that I'm very proud of as an editor for this movie is that so many of the ideas that I want to show here did end up making it to the final product. They were definitely lesser versions of things and stuff we dropped entirely as any process happens. But there's just so many things that we were able to find that first week that I worked on this that just stuck to the end. I often want to start off anything with just a little hook. So I was like, okay, let's kick us off in the snowstorm here. Dissolves are kind of tricky because you can just put a dissolve on anything, and it could be cool, but it could also feel kind of messy. So for us, even in the first edits here, it was kind of about like, okay, where are these dissolves actually happening physically on screen? Meaning, you know, this light here, this didn't even make it into the final edit, but I think this is a good example of where my brain kind of was at. It was like, okay, we're going into darkness here, and we've got this really, you know, high contrast kind of point happening here. What can actually line up with it there? And it's a shot like that. Those shots didn't make it into the movie exactly, right? But the ideas did. So this is kind of that section played out here. These guys are moving left to right. Darkness falls. And then we come back in again. It's like this moving light that kind of keeps passing right to left. All of this is never to be like fully noticed by the viewer, but only to draw you into maybe some sort of space. To wrap things up, I just want to show you a couple things that I find to be, let's call them sneaky edits, just fun little things. For this scene specifically, to open, we really wanted to disorient you right off the start, right? Like actually put you in the midst of a snowstorm. So we have so much coverage, and so much of it is just this like really shaky kind of crazy stuff that maybe when they were shooting it, they're like, oh, that wasn't the shot, or they were setting up for something else. That just little whip up all this motion blur and being like, oh, we can utilize that in so many different ways across the film. And we did utilize it in different ways. Like just a few frames like that, you can put it in between, you know, I mean, not anything, but you can put it in between like any of these shots to bring more intensity to stuff. It's kind of cool to put, you know, real-time motion like that in between slow motion stuff like this. So we have all these little texture moments here that we started off with that make their kind of return when we return to the scene at the end of the film. It kind of sandwiches all the content in between. Yeah, I know. I know it looks like this. I'm aware. But don't lie and tell me that you don't work like this too. Everyone gets like this eventually. This ending section right here, from an edit standpoint, it kind of represents all of the visual things that we have trained you to kind of become used to throughout the film. It's a combination of, you know, these little like crazy texture moments that we start the movie off. It's also a combination of these like longer held dissolve moments, and moments like when we've introduced the archival. Kind of all comes together here in this horrible mess of a timeline. But we also start kind of combining our fast texture swipes with our dissolves, right? Blending new images. Like I love these that kind of bring the textures together, but keep us still focusing on the image behind. We had the shot of Jeff in the fire. That was always here. And then we had like a little like, that's how it looked originally. But then that's when we kind of started getting inspired by doing blends and kind of blend mode effects and stuff like that to just kind of make some really cool stuff here. Like the motion blur of this fire just happened to kind of be going sideways and worked with these, you know, horizontally moving snow particles, I think. Tiny, tiny little things, but I think it all does build together to make something that it feels cohesive despite the look of this, I know. So yeah, that's kind of a look at things. I don't know, if you're curious about anything specifically and you watch this, please comment. I want to be an open book. That's kind of why I'm doing this in the first place, is just to show people, you know, how we got here. I hope to do more videos like this if there is actually any substance to what I'm making here. Okay, cool. Thank you.